Howdy there folks, good evening and welcome back to another stream with me, Fluent Code, here in the UK, live on Twitch and YouTube. Still got to work out whether the YouTube thing is worthwhile for me. There seems to be no traction on it whatsoever, but then I'm not putting out regular YouTube content, so I really do need to have a sort of a look in the background to see whether that's actually worthwhile. What is apparently worthwhile is getting back to painting Warhammer miniatures. Yes, that's right. We had a little break yesterday, a crazy momentary break from sanity and the stream by jumping on and doing some weird summer games fest, which I enjoyed immensely. In fact, I actually really did. Let me just see about this, whether or not we can get our little dudes here zoomed in a little bit. There we go. There we go. That'll do. So, yes, look, that's better. We're zoomed in. It's amazing what a reasonable quality camera will do for you. Whereas previously the camera that I had was kind of well, actually it wasn't so bad. It was the same camera as what I have over here, which is a very basic, cheap Amazon camera. It looks a lot like a Logitech, but it's definitely not. Whereas this one that I've got here, which you can see, is a bit of a different setup. But it's actually a really quite a nice camera, with a little bit of autofocus going on, as you can see, and then it sort of dives in and out when you take it away. So it's actually quite good. So, what are we painting? Well, what we are painting is what we were painting the other day. Eldar. It's what we're going to be painting for the foreseeable future, folks. So, you know, if you have something against the Eldar, which, you know, why ever would you? I don't suggest having anything against the Eldar on this channel, because otherwise that's going to result in some disappointment. I'm just going to trim a few rough hairs on that brush there. Hopefully we might actually get a little bit of lifespan out of this thing for a while yet. But I am going to have to upgrade some brushes as well. Decided that. You might have noticed that we're earlier tonight. Earlier because I have free time. I've had a lovely day today, been out and helped a family member to buy a new car, but I am now basically free for the day, so you know I can go live earlier on, get a little bit of daytime streaming in. It's not really daytime, it's still 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's absolutely crapping it down with rain out there, but you know, don't have to be 100% right all the time. I love a bit of rain. We'll call this my studio time with the rain. Love it. Love it. We're a little bit wonky on this camera here. Ooh, that's all right. That'll work. Now, I have been thinking with the slower pace, the slower nature of the stream, and my upgraded quality, that I might think about outputting in 1080p rather than this 720 stream. However, what I have realised is whilst I've upgraded the technology that I'm running on, I haven't actually upgraded the internet connection. And I have realised that the Wi-Fi connection that I have here is a bit shit, really. So it is something that I may need to look at updating in the future. I think what I will look at doing, if I find the need for it, is to see about actually hardwiring in a connection between my studio here, because I've started calling it my studio now. It's not a studio, it's just the room where my computer is housed, and I do my gaming stuff and my hobbying stuff and all my other nerd related bullshit that, you know, I suppose we could start calling it the studio. Hey guys, I'm just going to pop over to the studio. Yeah, maybe not. Now, I was looking at my greens the other day on my Rangers. I do love this green. The way this green is coming out is perfect. However, should it be darker? We'll have a look at some of the other ones that I've already done, and we'll see whether or not we needed to have gone a little bit heavier on the green, or whether we need to consider coming back for a second coat. The same is also true of the grey that we've done on the non-Ranger models who are wearing coats. Because this green is actually a really, really nice colour. I'm very, very pleased with this green. So I hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend. Like I say, yesterday we did a little bit of a break from the norm and we streamed the announcement of the, or rather the announcement, the entirety of the Summer Games Fest conference, which was a bit of a nice change of pace, a nice bit of difference for me. I haven't done anything like that before, and to be honest with you, I don't really keep abreast of things like the developments in gaming news and things like that. So doing a stream like that was rather unusual for me, but it was very interesting to see what's happening in the world of gaming. And all I can really assume is that people are kind of getting fed up of the big studios, because I saw what to my mind, or to my eyes rather, looked like a real sort of shift. There's still a few of the big studios who are you know, putting bums on seats, I guess. You know, the Resident Evil announcement, even though I can't stand Resident Evil, seemed like a lot of people were very, very interested in it. There were quite a lot of what I would consider small or indie developers that were featured on what I've been led to believe is a fairly major sort of conference. I don't know. Is E3 not a thing anymore? Has E3 gone? Is that where we're at now in the industry, so that these sort of smaller events that I've never heard of are basically what's taking up everyone's time? Or is E3 still a thing? It's just at a different time of the year. I do like that green. That's very, very cool. I like that a lot. we will look at doing all of these guys. And in fact, while I've got the green open, I might do the other, although I haven't tidied up the other squad, have I? No, so we've still got bits of blue and what have you on this one. I might like to tidy that up with the white first. Now, what do you reckon's happened here? Do you reckon that they have a special place to put their gems through their coat, or do you reckon they actually, on their coat, they have a special set of gems that goes on the outside of their coats? Seems a little bit weird, but it's only this one model that's at issue, so I won't start judging the entire model range that I adore. I love this. These scouts were just perfection to my mind. Back in the day when a GW sculptor really did earn his dollar. And of course, Jez Goodwin being, well, just about it when it comes to the Eldar, wasn't he? It really was. No one else could hold a candle to his Eldar work. I don't know what he still does, whether he's still a sculptor for them. I might have to have a look at that in a bit. Find out what Jez Goodwin does now. If anyone knows, answers on a postcard, or whack it in the chat. Of course, I have realised that I might be making a mistake by streaming this weekend in general, because there is a elephant in the room of, well, you yourself went and streamed the miniature conference thing. Don't you think that's what everybody else is going to be watching? And it is true, it could be the case that everybody will be watching something like that. But I imagine that there's enough people out there still in the miniatures and models space that that will get somebody in eventually. It is also a bit before my regular stream time, so I didn't make too much in the way of announcements otherwise that I would be going live earlier. Now, one thing that I have been telling myself that I'm going to do for ages now is to sit down and properly set up my chat commands. So that will be something that I'll be looking at doing hopefully tomorrow. It's something that I've been saying that I'm going to do for quite some time, so I really do need to get on and do that, because I do see it a lot on other people's channels. I see people being able to type in a simple sort of phrase or command, and then you get a nice big blurb of stuff come out, so I do need to look at those. Shout outs is something else that I've neglected. Sorry, you're getting a bit of paint water feedback there. Just seeing how long I can preserve that brush. A lot of people ask me, why do you like the rain? I'm like, just listen to that in the back. It's probably too quiet for you to hear because I have got some filters and what have you set up, and I don't think even if I did that you'd be interested in hearing. Let's just see. No, I don't think you're going to get to hear it, unfortunately. Now, do I or do I not need to look at doing another coat on these robes and trying to even out some of this pooling? I will be going back and adding a highlight, of course. I think it might be worthwhile trying to do it. Let's see. Let's see if we can do something with this. Now, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to try and thin using these little paint wells on my palette. See if I can get them thin, and then we can go from there, can't we? Yeah. Right, let's have a wee looky. Right, so we go five parts of thinner. Add, maybe, I don't know. Right, let's see if we can get anything nice and smooth from this colour. I don't know if it's going to do too much to take away that staining, but it will bring in that colour just a touch more towards the grey that I was after. To do it on all of them though, I am going to have to mix up a fair batch of this grey, because it does take quite a lot. When it's thinned like this, it does take quite a lot to actually get any real colour out of the or to get any real legwork out of it. But I do actually quite like that. I think that's probably worth the effort of doing that, and potentially I might even look at possibly doing it a couple of times. just to try and feather that effect. Let's have a look at some of the other models that had that same coat action. This one might be a little bit heavier now. Okay, we're still seeing some good work out of that. I worry a bit that that's a bit watery. I might need to go and just wick some water out of the brush. It's fine though, it's a very, very subtle effect that we're going for. And obviously this bloke's jacket is much the same idea as the Farseer. Part of the problem is that we've got this sort of pooling effect at the bottom, which is only right and proper. That's exactly what contrast is intended to do. Trouble is, if you don't do anything about it before it dries, which guess what I didn't do, you end up with this sort of very, very heavy stained effect. That there's not really an awful lot of option apart from trying to cover it up with an action like this one. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to get enough of the contrast material in there that when that bit dries, it should hopefully sort of blend it in a bit more. At which point that's actually quite a nice colour. Quite happy with that colour. So we have the other two weapon crew. There are some Guardian models who have these types of jackets, but mostly they're the armless. I told you the other day about the armless models, the ones where you just get a torso and legs, and then you had plastic arms and weapons to glue on them. So obviously the armless. Really, really nice models with a lot of customization options, as long as you're okay with gluing on two arms and a weapon that all really have to go on at the same time. Otherwise they end up looking a bit poo. The problem being is that quite often you would they wouldn't quite glue together right anyway. So you go, oh no, I don't want it to look poo, so I'll do this and do that, and then it would still look just dog shit. So Oh, that's the point. Did I paint the inside of the other one's cloak? Has he got an inside of his cloak? He has got an inside of his cloak. I need to check whether or not I painted it. Oh no, did I do it? Didn't I do it? Tell me now, folks, what do you think? Did I do it or didn't I do it? Did I or didn't I? I don't think I didn't. I don't think I did. I didn't. Which would have been unfortunate because that is quite badly stained in there as well. There will be a little bit of highlights go on these, obviously. Obviously. I'm not just going to leave it looking awful. And I do also need to have another look at the yellow. I need to add more yellow into our mix. What am I saying about into the mix? I don't need to add more yellow into the mix. I need to redo some of the yellow. As in another coat over it. It's actually quite difficult to get into all of these nooks and crannies. I did say about how much I wish this was in a sub-assembly for me to paint, because it's incredibly frustrating not being able to get into all of it. So I will have learnt my lesson, and in the future that is not going to happen the same. This one came from eBay and it was already pre-assembled. Or that's the excuse that you're getting out of me. No, it was. This one came from eBay and it was already pre-assembled. So I, unfortunately, there's nothing I could have really done about it. I did try my very best to take them apart. Everything I get from eBay, I do try my best to take them apart. Mostly. My name is Mr. Red. Evening. How are you? The reason being is that when you're dealing with these old models and what have you, sometimes it's actually really nice to just buy a ready assembled one and just say, fuck it, I don't need to bother about assembly or any of that nonsense with this one. I'm just literally going to buy it. It's already pre-assembled. Somebody's taken the effort to put it together, and I'm just going to start painting it. Other times it doesn't work out. Apart from getting shafted by rent and council tax. Oh dear, that's not great. I mean, to be fair, rent is due mostly the same time every month, unfortunately. But yeah, just hope and pray for those months where your council tax is free, or rather not free, but you've already paid it through the year, so you get the month off. Look forward to those months. I'm guessing from the evening and the fact that you mentioned council tax, you're a fellow UKer. So fingers crossed it's nice and warm, dry and sunny where you are, because it's certainly not here. It's cloudy, overcast, and looking forward to potentially some thunderstorms. Yes, I've heard that some people have been caught out, unfortunately, but I don't actually have any experience of that myself, so fair enough. Chucking it down is, you know, same thing as what I've got then. So I'm just going to apply a coat of Macragge blue over this to try and tone it down a little bit. The same recipe as the rest of the army, where we've done the Thalasar blue contrast paint and then we're painting a coat of Macragge blue over the top of it. But the Macragge blue is so watered down that you can see the contrast paint beneath it, the way it shines through. So fingers crossed that all goes on there quite nicely. But at least it sounds like, apart from issues with the rent and all the rest of it, you're having a sound weekend, which is good. I am glad. Because honestly, I'm having a lovely weekend. Had a nice day today. Went out with a family member to help her look at a car. Which actually turned out to be a good one. And so we bought it, and then I had to drive it home for her. So that was nice. Makes for a nice day out for me. Now, I still haven't yet. Painting brown. Well, I mean, brown is not always the interesting colour, but it's one of those colours that once you start getting it on, it makes a model come to life. So for example, take these dudes, right? This dude here, not a lot going on with him. Okay, got a bit of yellow, got a bit of blue, right? Take that same model, or a very similar model, well, in fact, let's take the same model, and you add brown to it, and suddenly we're now at three colours, and you're starting to go, oh yeah, okay, we're starting to get there. And that's just with the addition of these little extra bits. And brown is always one of those little extra bit colours that you don't realise how much of a difference it's making to the model until you stand back and go, oh, actually, yeah, I can really see this army starting to come together. So, you know, you might not have needed a brown pet talk. You might have actually been okay with all your brown that you've got to paint, but unasked for or not, you got a brown pep talk. Oh, there's a big old chunk of scabby paint. And I've now got a big chunk of scabby paint on my hands. I'm just going to have to go and rinse this off. I do apologise. I'll be back in just a second. Right, sorry about that, folks. We are back in the room now. I just want to grab a little bit of this lightning bolt blue. I should really be using my my wet palette, I guess. But I just want to start. I'm not even sure what I'm going to start with when it comes to this. I think it's just going to be a case of try and get some extra colour onto this this cradle. So obviously this is the only one of the crew that you're actually going to be able to see on this model. So the other one, I have just given him a splurge of contrast paint, and he will get the very faintest of paint jobs. So he will get a little bit of paint on him, but it won't be a lot, I'm afraid, because we just want to keep it very, very simple at this stage. That needs a heck of a lot of feathering in, unfortunately. So sorry, Mr. Red, 2 colours on so far, 11 to go, then on to all the yellow. What is it that you're painting? If you're starting off with brown and you're going to work your way up to yellow or something like that, I want to know what it is you're painting. I do apologise if I've already asked you and you've already told me at some point, but I'm sure we can work something out. Ah, yes, of course, you did tell me. You posted a picture up in the Discord, that's right. Armour is purple, fatigues brown, backpack, yeah, right, yes. I remember now. Well, it will all be worth it in the end. What are you painting them for? Are you just painting them to have an army, or are you painting them for a tournament, or what's the goal? What's the end game with them? fair enough. Everyone needs a fifth army. You know, what use is the first four without a fifth? Have you been into the hobby for a long time? Are you a old, twisted and bitter veteran, or is it a fairly new thing for you, or somewhere in the middle? With 5 armies, I'm hoping that you're going to answer that you're a twisted veteran. Well, in fact, though, no. Most people with that number of armies are not twisted veterans. They've been doing it for a while, but they actually still love Games Workshop and all the rest of it. I'm fairly indifferent, but respectful for it. I don't really do much with Games Workshop Direct anymore. Oh, okay, excellent. Like I say, for a long time I was a dyed-in-the-wool fan. Now, not so much. Games Workshop and I parted ways when they stopped making shit for me because I wouldn't buy it anyway. If that makes sense. It was a mutual arrangement. So this is going to be quite a messy sort of paint job. We're going to try and pin some details down into it, but we don't want to lose ourselves in that. It's by necessity it will be a fairly sort of sketchy highlights on a machine like this. Because I don't want to overstress the edges and what have you. Otherwise, I've found from previous experience, if you really go hard on the edge highlights of Eldar vehicles and what have you, they can end up looking a bit Tron-like. So I want to try and keep them fairly soft and sort of gradual colour changes rather than real hard edge highlights, as it were. I should definitely be using my wet palette for this. In fact, let's see how wet it actually is, because I imagine it's probably dried out at the moment. We can get a little bit of life back into this. Oh, sorry about that. Oh no! And we've knocked off the top of our Viper canopy. it's not glued in as such. I placed it there, and then when I undercoated the models, that kind of acted like an adhesive on it, and it's been in place ever since, apart from when I sort of accidentally knock it and have you. Right, now we'll just need too wet, too wet, too wet, too wet, too wet. Now what we're looking for here is just being able to see this sort of purpley colour underneath without taking too much of that away with our highlights, because that purple colour is just kind of key to the colour scheme that we've got going on. It's very, very subtle in there, and I'm just trying to keep it that way with our highlights on these models. Right. Sorry, I'm working right off camera here, which is terrible. I need to keep it more in place. So I'm just working up this blue to a nice sort of, I want to try and get a fairly sort of nice even highlight going on this, keeping our colours fairly liquid in order to get that effect right, where we build it up, build it up, build it up, while we still keep this sort of purple shade in the recesses, because like I say, that purple is sort of key to our colour scheme on this. So although each sort of glaze of colour adds a bit, we do need to just keep a little bit going on our edges around here. I'm not actually sure what the hell I'm doing with this at the moment. Quite enjoying how the colour's coming out though. Because one minute the paint seems really too watery, and then without changing the consistency of it really, it drops into sort of fairly perfect edge highlighting territory, and then it's back to sort of glazing thickness, and I don't know quite what's going on. I think I really need to spend a bit more time learning this wet palette and the consistencies that it can give you, because although it might not seem like a lot, it is changing like every brushful. Which is awkward at best and not very accurate at worst. Slowly starting to stop raining out there, and I'm always torn because I love a good rain, but over the past sort of couple of years we just had such miserable summers. I can't help but celebrate whenever the rain stops. I'm like, oh, I always used to love a good rain, and now it just seems to be all the time. It's always bloody raining. But hey, at least it's not true what they say about us Brits always talking about the weather. This wasn't intended to be a blue painting session. I mean, not that sort of blue. this wasn't actually intended to be a session of putting blue paint on models, which I'm a bit surprised, because I have been putting off the blue on when we first started the stream. The first squad of models that we painted, I got the first coat of blue on and I said, yeah, do you know what, I'm gonna do all the blue, work it all out, get all the blue out of the way. And that went to shit very, very quickly because I got bored. So I'm a little bit surprised that I've just picked up the brush and started doodling in blue. Maybe the muse has hit me, because the blue was one of my favourite parts of our test model. So perhaps... and I think it's fairly clear to see. It's awkward to get the right colour, but I think you can see where one side has been worked over and the other hasn't yet. It's coming together slowly but surely. I need to stop working on the same area of the bloody model. That's what I need to stop doing. Howdy Caveman, welcome back to the stream. How are you? I hope things are going well. We went live a little earlier than normal today. And commercial. Howdy there, Caveman. Welcome back. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. How the devil is Germany today? Rainy and grey, rainy and grey. It seems to be a theme. You're not the only one. It is rainy and grey here, and I am loving it. I'll love it until it goes away. And then I will celebrate it going away, because it'd be nice to have some summer. But I do secretly love the rain. Just don't tell like everybody else. Fair enough, fair enough. I've been out today looking at a car for a family member, which they bought. So that's good. That gets them on the road. And a little bit of housework to keep the good lady wife happy and off my back. Oh, 35 degrees. Yeah, that'd be nice. Mind you, I find that I love the rain, but over this last sort of couple of years, I have actually been really missing a good hot summer. I'll probably regret it once we actually get one, but I would like us to have another good long hot summer again. Also, one of the reasons is because that's actually very good for my business. The construction work that I do. My cave is under a roof side. The construction work that I do is mostly related to subsidence, and subsidence often happens when you have a long hot summer, because the tree roots tend to travel further afield to collect water, and that goes under people's houses, and then their houses start to fall down. So, you know, there is a slightly more selfish reason, a commercial reason in fact, for me to want a nice hot summer. I think the secret is to have all of the old models already. You just have them sat there, and then you don't need to buy any more of them. I don't know if I've discovered some major secret. It's almost like a life hack. Just have all of your old shit left over, so you don't need to buy it. I might start making motivational posters and selling them on Etsy. Just have all the money already, and then you don't need to worry about where the rest of it's coming from. So we tried something a little bit different on stream last night, which was to do a review of the Summer Games Fest video that was put out, and I had quite a good time actually, looking and seeing some of the interesting well, there's quite a few of these old ones out there still, considering that these old Vipers are exactly what they haven't changed one little bit. These old Vipers are the new Vipers, so you know, you could just, I mean, it would mean giving evil Games Workshop some money, but you could just buy one and I've often seen these Eldar jet bikes and Vipers and what have you done with an airbrush, and I've always wanted to. I've got an airbrush, but I have absolutely no ability, it seems, to judge how one should be set up. So I've tried several times to set this airbrush up, and I can barely get a sprayed white undercoat on a model. So I kind of feel like me and airbrushes might never work things out. So I tend to like trying to do brush painting for the most part. I will eventually learn the art of airbrushing. This palette is too dry. I need some more water in there. Bear with me just a moment. I know it's too dry because everything is drying out. And that's probably too wet, although we'll let it do a couple of laps, and by that point it will have probably soaked into the there we go, it's nearly gone, look. What kind of brushes? I use cheap brushes. And I mean that. I buy them cheap on Amazon, and then I cane them until they're no more use, and then I throw them away. Because whilst I would love to go out and buy myself a set of Artist Opus or Rosemary and Co. or even Winsor Newton, something like that, I just know that I'm going to pretty much mistreat them until they're no better quality than what I've got. So let's not beat about the bush. Let's just leave them as basic as can be when it comes to brushes. A lot of my hobby tends to be based on quite cheap processes and materials, which is a good thing, I guess, for most people. Whilst I appreciate everything that these companies do to innovate, I just can't justify spending the sort of money that they want for a brush that I know that I'm not going to gain any of the benefit from, because I'm just going to mistreat it. So I tend to buy cheap crap from Amazon and paint with it until it gets messed up, and then right away buy something new. Yeah, it's something that I've developed over the years. I'm just not one for spending an awful lot on things like hobby. I have spent huge amounts on it over the years, and now it needs to become either a secondary thing, or I don't spend much on it because I've got so many other commitments. You know, it's a case of do we get shopping this month, or do I get myself something else for the... Yeah, I think it's very much, it's a hobbyists who've learned over the years that hobby is just that. It's a hobby that often will need to come second to the rest of life, as it were. And I don't think that's a bad place to be. It's a, you know, I devote quite a serious amount of time to hobby, but money, not so much. It's weird, when you're younger, you have all the time in the world, but no money to pursue anything. And then you get older and you have disposable income, but you have less and less time. And it's weird, I have spent more time of late when I realised that streaming was a thing, and then realising that, oh, actually my hobby can be a streaming thing. And so I think I'm in quite a good balance of time and hobby and what have you right now. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can make out of cardboard if you have patience. Unfortunately, whilst I might have plenty of time, I don't necessarily have that much patience anymore. Which is where things like 3D printing, I think, are quite nice, because whilst you do still have to wait for things, it's not like you're just hanging around waiting for them. You can go off and do other stuff while you wait, because you don't need to focus a million years on something. You just focus 20 minutes to get it set up, and then you leave it to do its thing. Now, I wasn't quite sure exactly what I was going to do with this jet bike, because a lot of the ones in the Codex and in the Codex Craft Worlds, which is where Alaitoc got fleshed out in 3rd edition, they show a lot of their vehicles with camouflage on them. And I'm just not sure. I really like the idea of camouflage, but I also feel that I will fuck it up. You know. What I do possibly like the idea of more is going for, not decals, because I don't want to go out and buy them, but I might do some freehand on it. I might paint in a Craft World emblem or something like that. But I think that's a quite good tone for the blue that we're getting there at the moment. It's coming together quite nicely. I want to add a little bit of this ice blue to the mix, and then just start with some very, very fine highlights. These will be highlights of the edge variety. Even though I said we were going to try and keep the highlights to a sort of fairly minimal effect, they will be there. They will be on there. So just start working these in a little bit now. Weirdly enough, it was the camouflage that actually first attracted me to doing the Alaitoc craft world, and then I realised how much work that was actually going to be, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I also feel that on a vehicle like this, I'll probably fuck it up. So maybe, I don't know, I might see how it goes. What I might do is I might just leave it for another one, and we'll find another one and work our way up to it. Ah, the green and white, yeah, bale tan. Quite an interesting craft world, that one. They not happy with that at all. Oh, too much water on. I'll let that little bit there dry and then reapply it, I'm afraid. That's just messed up a little bit. Let's keep it to our highlight areas here. I'm going to try and keep this quite sketchy. If I go too detail, I think I'm just going to get fed up with the whole thing. Which ones are we talking about? The monopose or the... I don't remember Snap Fit Eldar, to be honest with you, but I might well have been out of the hobby by then. Oh, okay, so like the tester model that I did, which is this guy. Or you might have had him with las guns. Yeah, I thought they were in 5s, but never mind, close enough. I know the ones that I bought were certainly in 5s. But yeah, they were. I loved them. I've got quite a few of those in the army, or rather, I've got quite a few of them in my boxes of Eldar. Not going to try not to use too many of them, because obviously they are monopos. They are a very a tool to be used sparingly, I feel. Oh wow, from 2010, bloody hell. They weren't still selling those in 2010, surely. Wow, you kept hold of them for a while then? Or, well, I mean, 2010 isn't a million years ago, but well done for keeping hold of the old models. I do like me an old model, as you might be able to guess. So, what are you going to do with them? Well, as you should. I mean, personally, I've always liked Eldar. They've always been my absolute favourite faction. They were the ones I started with, so like everybody who ever started with a faction, they are the best. They're the ones that you support evermore. So yeah, I mean, I've always loved them. I thought they're fantastic miniatures back then. I still think they're fantastic miniatures now. And as you can tell, I'm still a fan. Okay, that's starting to come together as far as colour is going. I don't want to go too far with the highlights. I don't want to end up washing out this this lovely blue colour that we've got, so I don't want to go too far with the highlights. So we will keep them very, very sort of faint, limited to the corners where we can, rather than all over the model, if that makes sense. Don't want to push it too far. Oh, hang on. Sorry, the car that I went to see, somebody's messaged me. Let's have what's happened here. Okay. Oh. Sorry, Caveman. What was a model of 6th edition? I'm assuming your box of Eldar that you've got weren't the same monopose ones that I had. I'm guessing they were the later snap fit ones. This guy is simply a two-part model. You've got the whole legs, torso, head, and then it's just the weapon and one arm that comes off as a separate part. Whereas I think yours are probably the yeah, like you say, the 6th edition or so, and that would make sense. They would have, well, not just a bit, they would have definitely come in a box of 4. Right, yeah. So with yours, the helmet will look something like that guy. Yeah, so this is quite a relaxing thing to do, but it does mean that I forget to talk. So you'll please just bear with me and just sort of soak in the silence a little bit as I try and do a little something with these guys. So that's what I was worried about a little bit when I said about the contrast washing out. So what I might do here is get this sort of line across, where we do that all the way down the model to create that sort of washed out highlight sort of look. And then what we'll do is come back and just feather that whole line in with a little bit of contrast paint, because like I say, it can end up when you do this looking a bit chalky, a bit washed out, and that's kind of what I don't want. I want the contrast to be there, but I don't want it to look all feathery and washed out if possible. So we'll see what we can do with it. And it is very, very easy to get these models looking very washed out, far too desaturated colour wise. And quite often that technique that I'm talking about, where we come back with a wash of the contrast colour, can be quite effective in actually adding saturation back to the colours that we're dealing with. Yo. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. It's coming along. It's not perfect, and this is the first sort of large area of that blue that I've had to do. So I am quite happy with that. What I will do is, like I say, I will just try and put a bit of the saturation back into that blue, just where, luckily I haven't actually added any white to the mix. I have done it all with ice blue. Obviously white is a great colour, or rather a lack of colour to work with. Fair enough. JB Anubis, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing this evening? What brings you this way? You interested in miniatures and models, or, well, to be honest, I asked that of people, and I'm like, it's probably a bit of a silly question. There's not an awful lot of people who will be hanging around in the miniatures and models channel if they're not interested in miniatures and models, or that would be my assumption. I dare say that these sort of streams don't often end up on front page or things like that. Although that being said, I did see one guy's stream who as a miniature and models painter, and he ended up on the front page with like 11,500 people watching him, when he's a brand new channel and he normally only gets like 20, and it's like, how did you do that then? Because he felt, or he seemed very, very uncomfortable with it. Got through it all right, but you know, it was a bit of a shock to his system, I do believe. I find when I get raided and ended up with like 100 people viewing, that's a big sort of system shock. You know, there's a lot of people in your channel suddenly. So just use the sneaky little edge highlighting trick there. Eldar just responds so nicely to that, where you just flip the model round and rub the edge of the brush along the edge. And these Eldar vehicles with their lovely smooth lines just take that treatment so nicely. Such a lovely little trick. got to be quite sparing with it, and if you do get it wrong, it does look really quite noticeable, so you've got to be quite careful. Right, I think for now that blue is going to be done. I don't actually know if I am going to bother with coming back with a That's okay, fella, no problem at all. I very much appreciate you dropping by. Baby laid asleep on me. I remember those days well, and the feeling of utter helplessness when you realise that you've finally got them to sleep and your phone is nowhere in range, or even the TV remote. The worst bit is when you realise that you jerk yourself awake and realise that, oh yeah, I actually fell asleep with a baby on me. So yeah, there's that. Don't worry, my man, I'm sure you're doing a fantastic job. Yes indeed, yes indeed. Right. Let's now, all of that has gone lovely and cakey, so we are going to have to find another area and do us some more yellow work, because all of the yellow on this is going to need another coat. I made sure it was a very, very thin coat originally, and whilst we got decent coverage over almost all of it, and this is the whole army, mind, we do need to redo all of that yellow. So what we're using is Avalon Sunset, and we've got a little recipe here. We've got Avalon Sunset. We come in with a little bit of Iandan. Is it Iandan? It might be Nasdreg yellow, and just use that in the deepest recesses as our shade, as our wash. And then we come along with a bit of my one and only army painter paint, Demonic Yellow. So that's our recipe that we're going to work to for this yellow, which I was quite pleased with how that turned out. So we're gonna try and get another coat of this yellow over all of our army, basically. No problem, caveman. I very much appreciate a lurk just as much as the next guy. Right, now we're going to try and be quite careful to not get this yellow anywhere else. We just want to put another coat over all of this so that we've got a nice crisp coat. I probably should have done this second coat of yellow before I started working on anything else, because if I slip up now and get it on the blue, it's gonna look kind of shit. Yeah, so the rest of the army should be in quite a good place. It's only this one that I've started doing any other colours on since we painted that yellow. Now, this canopy is slightly odd in that it's got a very slight ridge down the middle of it, and the reason being is because this is actually a 3D print. I didn't print it myself. I bought this one on eBay because I can't remember which miniature it was that I lost the canopy from. I don't think it was this one actually. I think I've got the canopy for this somewhere. But when I was assembling the army, I was like, can't bother. I'll just grab the 3D printed one. But it has got a bit of a ridge down the middle of it. Look, I don't know if you can see that there. There's a very faint line down the middle of it. There's like a almost, it's not a mould line, but a don't know quite how to describe it really. So what I think we're going to do with this yellow is once we get this coat on, and we're going to try and do this coat over the entire army this evening. We've got loads of time. Look, it's only 9 o'clock, and I know we started the stream a bit earlier than normal. But we can go to the normal sort of 10 o'clock as we normally do. Or heck, as it's a Saturday, we could go even later if we wanted to. We could be rebels. We could be grown-ups and set our own bedtime. Although I won't, because there's an actual grown-up in the house who will moan at me. Weirdly enough, these wings on the Viper are the only areas of paint that last time came out really, really nicely and smoothly. I think I might have changed the consistency just to paint these. But they're going to get a second coat as well. Right, there we go. That can go to one side, and then I can start. I can start with the second coat on the rest of the army. You remember the rest of the army? We've barely seen them this evening, but they are still here. Just want to make sure that we get a reasonable coat onto all of this. So that we can start with a nice smooth consistent coat of yellow and then work our way up in, or work our way down in shades and up in highlights. as I say, it just amazes me how well these models stand up to the modern day ranges. There's just something about these Eldar. I mean, I can keep saying it over and over again. Jez Goodwin, check. Iconic models, check. The best Warhammer range they've ever made? I feel it was one of the most consistent. I don't think there were any actual bad models during this time period. I would argue that of all of them, probably the Warp Spiders were the worst, but they weren't a bad model. Not by any means. As far as the rest of the range, there were no... I don't think there were any bad models in the whole range. And the only reason I say the Warp Spiders was it was a very, very limited aspect of aspect warriors. And they weren't... I think that they suffered a little bit from the design constraints of the time, i.e. they had to be releasable from a mould. I think if those constraints hadn't been a thing, they could have been tweaked slightly, things could have been thinned down where they're in particularly bad cases of you know, how fat a thing has to be made in order to get it out of a mould. You know, to prevent undercuts and things like that. But the range itself, I think it was stunning. I don't think there was a truly bad model in the range. And what other range, even at that time, do you think could say the same? I can't think of any. Maybe it's bias. Maybe it's just confirmation bias. That was the range that I played at the time. I'm always going to say it as my favourite. Was it the best? Yeah, who knows? I don't even think it's actually worth even pondering the question now I think about it. I don't think there was a best range. I retract my statement. There's no need for it. So what was, you know, feel free to chime in. What was everyone's favourite second edition range and why was it the Eldar? It's a good job that piece has dried because I'm already touching it with my fingers. Come on, YouTube, have you run out of things to say for yourself? Why have you gone quiet all of a sudden? Better. Hopefully not better enough that it's actually going to bleed through onto the microphone, but because I don't want to have to do the stream with headphones. Although that's quite a lot louder than the last bit of the track was, so I might just have to turn it down a bit. Right, that is looking a lot smoother as far as the yellow goes. It dries almost instantly. I have noticed that with a lot of these base paints. They do dry remarkably quickly, which is a good thing, because we do like our paints to be dry when we next come and faff about with them. Let's get these guys to have a little bit of extra action over their helmets. I was very disappointed in myself when I saw this model with paint on the helmet for the first time the other day, because I realised that I have bollocksed it up a bit, and we've got a little sneaky mould line made it through the cleanup process, which thankfully I didn't subject you guys to, because that would have made for absolutely riveting TV. But yeah, right across his head there. And to be honest with you, I got to the point that I was painting this and I went, do you know what? I cannot actually be bothered to go back and sand that down. So he is going to have that mould line. And that mould line is going to stay with us and haunt us from now until forever. Until forevermore will that haunt us. Oh, hang on, we did miss off his little yellow belly sash. Mustn't forget your little yellow belly sash. And then we've got the same on this guy. He's got a little yellow belly sash as well that we need to take into account. Poor little guy. So the plan is for no stream tomorrow because it's Sunday. Sunday is normally a D&D day where I go off and play Dungeons and Dragons with nerds in town. However, we are having a break tomorrow, so I don't know whether to do a cheeky daytime stream, maybe play some games. We have been talking about playing games on stream for a little while, and we did stream the other day with the Summer Game Fest, which was lovely. It was really, really nice to break the mould a little bit and to step outside of my comfort zone and do a bit of a almost a reaction video, I guess. Yeah, it wasn't quite as cheesy as all that, but it was still quite nice to be in a slightly different place with a video. So yes, perhaps tomorrow I might end up doing a daytime stream. It won't be anything particularly special. It will be simply a case of, hey, it's daytime, here's me, I'm going to do some gaming of some sort. You know, we will see how it pans out. But I think it would be quite nice to do something of that ilk. So if you want to get updates as to what we do and when, please do check out the Discord and the Instagram links, which that is the other thing that I will be doing tomorrow. I absolutely have been promising for forever now, ever, to post some bloody updates, to post some pictures, to get our stuff out there, get it seen, get people looking at it. I might even see if I can make some YouTube content. I made YouTube content when I was gaming, but this doesn't seem to lend itself well from just taking your VODs, your video on demand that you do on Twitch when you press go live and it saves a video at the end of it. That's your video on demand. And what I was doing was simply uploading those gaming ones to YouTube or making clips of them, you know, little shorts and TikToks and what have you. Whereas this painting, it does seem like I might need to actually get a bit more involved if I'm going to get some YouTube sort of ready content out of it, which is unfortunate because getting involved is like the last thing on my mind with the sort of time constraints that I have. Oh, needed that. I was very thirsty. Right, there we go. We're getting some nice smooth yellow coming up on these guys now. We have, in fact, what I might try and do is get some yellow on these nerds. Now for that, what I'm going to do is put my brush down and switch to my little brush. Now, these guys, I just want to, they have such a small amount of yellow on them that I've just switched to my slightly more detailed brush, just so that I can put that in a bit easier. Is that what Ren is using? I just pop onto YouTube and grab a copyright free whatever track and just run it for the length of the stream, basically. Deema's there, welcome to the stream. It's nice to have you in. Right. I wonder if it is something that pops off for me if I'm asking. I don't know. Don't know. It must be winding you up a little bit. I mean, in the search bar. Possibly. Oh dear, oh dear, what we got there? This is just our first coat of this yellow, so it's not too terrible if we get it messed around a little bit. Whoa. And as I say, there is just such a tiny fraction of yellow on these guys that it's almost impossible to actually get the brush in there without getting it on something else. Probably, see, look, that's another one. I probably should have done this yellow before doing the blue, although all that would have then happened is I'd have ended up with blue over the top of the yellow. Yeah, these guys are going to be very, very tiny amounts of yellow, and that was the plan with the scouts. I'm using an older colour scheme for these, which is where the almost the entirety of the armour is blue, and then you've got the green robe. You know, they are scouts after all, so they have to have green on them. That's the law. And obviously these guys would normally have yellow helmets for Alaitoc, but not as rangers. Not always the case. And the later Pathfinders, which are from 3rd edition, I did like where they just painted the whole model green. They just went, yep, they're like the Super Scouts, so they're just going to be green. Hopefully all of that will dry without leaving too much in the eye sockets, because I've still got to come in and paint the eyes, which if you thought the yellow was hard to see in there, wait till we're just doing that tiny little eye socket there. I'm not sure that my eyesight will actually let me do that very well, and I'm reluctant to admit defeat and get a magnifier of some sort. But I suppose I might need to if Right, that's the yellow on those guys done. It is only the first coat, so we'll leave them to dry. We'll rinse out that brush. We'll go back to our other brush. Nade, welcome, or Nard, whichever one you prefer. Welcome to the chat. No, I don't recognise that that term, unfortunately. I don't know what you mean. I am joking. There's a tongue-in-cheek emoji there, unwritten, unfortunately, because yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of the legally distinct naming conventions that they've adopted. I do actually quite like Eldar, so these are definitely Eldar until I'm forced to use them in a perfect. Yes, we'll go with Space Elves. That's much better. I'm just trying to think if the first box of them was called, were they called Space Elves? I know they did. I know the squats were Space Dwarves, and obviously the orcs were Space Orcs, but I can't remember if they called these guys Space Elves in the first box. The first box they did was with the with the Alaitoc on the cover, I believe. Oh, I think they were. I think they were Space Elf Pirates for the first box. I do apologise. I do apologise for your trauma in having to look them up. Essentially the Eldari name came when a few years back Games Workshop realised that everything that they currently were using wasn't terribly copyrightable, mostly because they'd stolen all of the old naming conventions from other IPs. So they went on and they religiously renamed everything. Imperial Guard got renamed. The only thing that they actually kept was Space Marines, even though Space Marines is a highly contentious term. Whilst they can't legally copyright the name of Space Marines because of its use in Heinlein and other stuff, they can copyright its use in a gaming sense. So, you know, they got away with that. They just can't copyright Space Marines in literature or other fields. I think they managed to argue that nobody else had ever sort of done Space Marine miniatures. Whereas lots of people have talked about Space Marines in a novel, as in book novel sense. There you go, little brief Games Workshop and their excellent use of, or misuse, as people may say it, of IP law. You know, it's perfectly fine that we've been stealing this name for decades, but now somebody is stealing from us. We would like you to find in our favour. Oh, what, that's going to backfire on us? Oh, that's really poor. Now we'll have to rename everything. It's all right. I'm not bitter about them at all.
Core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Fair enough. And what brave soul introduced you, or what torturer introduced you? So are you sort of keeping your eye on various different hobby streamers now, or? Oh, excellent. Well, I'm happy to have you here. It's nice to see people joining the hobby and keen to learn more. It's very weird, as somebody who's been in the hobby for over 30 years, let's just say that much. It's easy to forget that people are still experiencing it for the first time. And even if you get old and jaded and, well, let's just leave it at old and jaded, there's a lot of people who are discovering the magic for the first time. So it's really important to remember that, or be reminded of it. So it's really good to see you. Really, really good that you're exploring the hobby yourself. So if you've just been introduced and you didn't want to... Oh, excellent. Excellent. What miniatures are you using for D&D? I started painting on this channel with D&D miniatures because I didn't really want to paint Warhammer or 40k for some reason, but obviously since then that's gone out the window, and now I'm painting miniatures. Yeah, and now I am fully back into the role of Warhammer. I was using the miniatures from the D&D board games. Excellent. Oh, I am very pleased to hear it. Yeah, that wouldn't be me at all. Yes, it actually is. I generally tend to be the one to come along and supply miniatures. There's one other player in our group who's got a bit of the miniature bug, and he regularly tends to drop in on the stream now. He streams himself, but he tends to drop in on the stream now looking for sort of painting tips and what have you. So I'm really looking forward to when he shows up with his first painted miniature. Yeah, I've got a resin printer myself. I just haven't haven't had it set up for a while now. I packed it away last year because I was like, yeah, I really should stop using it in the house, even with water washable resin. So I need to get my space in the shed set up again, because I have it set up with the best will in the world, and then that space gets used for sheddy stuff rather than hobby stuff. Yeah, the studio in here, I tend to keep the window sort of fairly open most of the year round, but it was just a case of it's still pretty noxious stuff. Let's leave it outside this time. So yeah, no more printing indoors. But nobody is going to stop me from washing my resin down the sink, though. Well, that's certainly the tried and true method of doing it, or the proper method of doing it. I tend to find that with most things, I'm pretty much the personification of half-arsing it. So it will be a case of I will put it in the shed and open the window in the shed. Oh, just headbutted the camera. So this yellow is now starting to look quite nice across these models. We've gone from a fairly thin but washed out coat everywhere to having a little bit of colour depth back in the mix, which is good. So perhaps what they say about too thin coats is right. Nah, it's the thought that counts. Half-arsing it is a mental state of mind rather than a physical one. And whilst I appreciate your sentiment, I think that you've got all the characteristics of somebody who is fully arsing it. You know, even thinking that I'm gonna set up a little cabinet with insulation and what have you, that's somebody who is definitely fully arsing it. I have actually got a whole bunch of construction insulation waiting to build my other shed that I could cannibalise a bit off of it and make myself a little box. But I think what I'll probably just end up doing is not using it in the winter, which seems like an equally valid thing. So this year I will make sure that I get it. I've got loads of stuff sat on my work schedule already. I literally, the only hobby that I do is tending to be now on stream. So I mean, this army alone is going to take me probably the next few months, I would have thought, to get these guys finished. I'm not the fastest worker. I stream a couple of hours of an evening, so yeah, it's going to take me a little while to get these finished. So it is a long-term project, but it is the first miniature painting that I have done on a reasonable scale in 10 years. You know, I've done some D&D miniatures. I've painted a few on stream for my campaigns, and I've that's it. I haven't touched Warhammer in years. So this is really nice, and so I don't really need to print anything else for the foreseeable future. It's a case of I've got everything that I really need. Ah, okay. There's somebody else who's working on a Votan army at the moment. He was in the chat earlier on. You can see his work on the Discord, at the Discord link down below if you wanted to check that out. Feel free to check that out, by the way. and the Instagram link should have some of the thank you very much for the follow, really appreciate that. The Instagram link below as well should have some of my D&D miniatures on there, which I was quite pleased with. And as far as one-page rules goes, Caveman is the man to speak to. He is chief cheerleader for one-page rules. Yes, it's all about networking these days. It's chatting to people and finding this new stuff, new hobby, new technology. It's quite interesting to me. You know, for years I was a Games Workshop and that's it. Then over this last year, I've discovered D&D, started playing and painting D&D, and DMing as well, running my own games, which I love, absolutely adore doing. She's also very passionate about it. Oh, that's good. You can't beat somebody with a bit of passion for their hobby. Oh. Now, this guy here, the only thing on him that I could think of to paint yellow, because he's got no sash and he's got no helmet, so he is going to have the most glam rocker hair you ever did see. But not like pink or gold or whatever. This is just going to be pure canary yellow hair. Which, when it's like this, it's not even blonde, is it? This is more like, yeah, I dipped my hair in custard. Yeah, I absolutely love DMing. I'm so glad that I plucked up the courage to do it. I started off with a group of family and friends, where somebody was saying, "Oh, you know, I'd love to do Dungeons and Dragons." I said, "Well, why don't you then?" They said, "Well, yeah, we don't know how to play." I was like, okay, well, I know how to play. It's not terribly hard. The rules are fairly simple rules. You know, everything is decided on the roll of a dice. Oh, okay. So how do we play then? It's like, well, you need to get yourself a DM. And they're like, well, what's that? Well, you need somebody to run the game for you. Oh, we can't. It's not just, no. You need somebody to actually design and manage the adventure for you. And it is a bit weird because as a sort of, I don't know, as everything just over the last sort of few years, everything has become kind of isolated. People are not spending the same sort of quantities of time together as they were. And so the whole concept of a game that requires not only you and 3 other people to get together to play it, you have to have a 5th person who's going to run it for you as well. And that seems kind of alien today. But when you actually get down and do it, it is just, it's so incredibly fun. The freedom to take an adventure off on a path that nobody involved, nobody playing, the person who created it, nobody anticipated that happening, and then you're basically working on the fly, and it's like, okay guys, just let's go a bit slowly from here on out because we're in uncharted waters, so bear with me. And then all your team are like, oh shit, we've taken the DM off the rails, let's go nice and easy. That's all right, not a problem, Nade. I was just talking about how the randomness, the freedom of Dungeons and Dragons to create a scenario that nobody has actually prepared for. I'll give you the current game that I'm playing in. I'm playing in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and my character is an artificer, and it's quite an interesting campaign because obviously at low levels, and it is a low level campaign, the artificer actually is just you're not actually very great at anything, but you are good at lots of things. So my character is basically just a whirlpool of proficiency points. He's proficient in just about everything, but I've been looking to develop him as a character and to take him in a certain direction. So I've leaned fairly heavily on my first level up into speccing him into being the party's healer. For one thing, we don't have a party's healer, but also it's, I'm not focusing on being a damage dealer or anything like that. It's just a case of, okay, I'm gonna try and take a class which isn't directly intended to be a healer and build a healing build out. Okay, and part of the campaign is we come across this thing called a Nimblewright. It's an artificial creation. It was created by a wizard. It has almost sort of, or it has independent thought. It's a sentient creation, effectively. And the storyline goes that this guy got so lonely. He was created by a wizard and then gifted to a hall of inventions. And this thing became so lonely that it learnt and taught itself how to create another one. And it's like, oh shit, we're now into like machines creating machines territory here. This is quite interesting, but also right up the streets of an artificer. So I've actually the one that was created ran away and has done some relatively bad things, like killing 11 people, which is generally frowned upon. But my character has decided that he wants to rescue it. I am going to save it. And so I actually messaged the DM and I said, look, I don't know how you would normally expect to have this information relayed to you, whether you'd expect it to just turn up on the table out of the blue when we're actually playing, or whether you want it in advance. But just a heads up, it is my intention to try and save this thing. And he's responded with like, well, I appreciate the heads up, let's see how it plays out. So fingers crossed, he can now prepare ahead of time so that when it comes up at the table, he's got something to counteract me trying to bullshit my way into getting a free Nimblewright companion for my artificer. But we'll see what happens. But it's those freedoms that I find D&D are so valuable for. I can't think of any other game or system or anything like that where you can have those freedoms to just create the story on the fly. Got a group in person I play with, but also got a group of DM4 over Discord. They never played, and seeing them creating their problem solving is amazing to me. Yeah, I've never done the remote play thing, so I think that might be quite interesting and possibly easier to organise than the gameplay that we have, which is where we all meet in town at a cafe, a board game cafe, incidentally, which is a whole crazy new world for me. But I'm so pleased to see they're doing well, because they do treat us really nicely. Yeah, might have to try the Discord thing at some point. Different time zones. Yeah. JB Anubis, baby free at last. Yeah. Well, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is 10 minutes. Learn to treasure it. Is it newborn, JB? Are you know, staying up late? Not getting a lot of sleep? Oh, okay. Not newborn, but yeah, 13 months is still they're still relatively fresh at that point, aren't they? Yeah. To be fair, my 9-year-old is good as gold, so I don't really have it too bad anymore. Right. Well, actually, apart from the other squad of scouts, some of these guys have actually taken a bit of a pounding over the years. Some of the detail on their faces has gone a little bit soft, so I'm going to have to be careful painting this in when I do. that I can preserve some of that detail, hopefully. Thankfully, everything that we're going to shade it with is going to be like contrast paint, so we should be all right there, to be fair. Oldest was worse. She has health problems and was feed 2 hours later. Drugs. Oh dear. Yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet. But hopefully, by the sounds of it, she's on the mend. Or that could be a really insensitive question if not. So I do apologise if I've just put my foot in my mouth. That's good, that's good. Spoiled rotten is good. Should be the default state for all of them, but yeah, especially when circumstances necessitate it. So, JB, I didn't get a chance to have much of a conversation with you earlier, but thank you very much for the follow. It's very much appreciated. My credit card screen. Ah, yes. But what brings you to the channel? Are you a hobbyist? What brings you in? Well, I do really appreciate the feedback. That's good. Yeah, I mean that's what we're aiming for. We just want to be a nice little chilled community of people who meet up once a day or what have you to paint models and chat shit. So it sounds like we're on vaguely the right track. No, can't do that just yet. Gotta. Some on this helmet. So what I'm going to do is I've got the other scout squad, which needs yellow, and then the scout squad that we painted first, which needs a second coat of yellow. And do you know what? I'm going to go hell for leather, and we're going to put that second coat of yellow on this evening. Couple more Guardian models here, literally a couple more. Well, it's all about little steps, man. You say that, but in 1 year, I painted one 40k orc. That's your baseline. That's what you get to measure yourself from, and you get to say, okay, I got to paint one orc. Next year, I might see about getting myself 2 orcs, and you can work your way up. It's a, it's a slippery slope upwards, if that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but that's what we're going to go with. The hobby is not going anywhere. You're not going to miss out on anything. There's a real, I'm not painting an orc. Although I do have a big box of orcs, probably. As I say, man, the hobby's not going anywhere. It will wait for you, and your circumstances will change. They will. They will change. And what you think of at the moment as, oh, I've got no time, honestly, take that time and treasure it with your little uns, and because before you know it, they're 9 years old and they don't want anything to do with you, which is really quite annoying. Or my paint's going over. Well, not now. Yeah, that's very true. Or as you're doing, live the hobby vicariously and enjoy what other people are doing. It's still a way to spend your free time. It's just that you're not actively painting stuff yourself. Yeah, that's right. Babies can't go into garages. Just remember that. There's a life tip for you. Oh. I'm not seeing an ad break, so I'm hoping you guys are back. Yeah, that's true. That's well, JB, have you considered the various different methods of speed painting? I take it from the sounds of things you are a hobbyist. You like models and minis, and you play Warhammer or something along those lines, or you played back when time was a thing that existed for you. Because there are some incredibly talented people out there who have come up with things like contrast paints, speed paints, methods and techniques of for people who are a limited time to have miniatures done, painted. I myself, I've used some of the techniques. They're great techniques. They don't. Yeah, I haven't tried the Army Painter speed paints, but I have heard excellent things about them. I personally, I jumped on the contrast paints bandwagon when they first came out, when they were first released, and I love the things. I think they're fantastic. You know, these cloaks on this guy was painted with contrast paints, and yes, they're rough as shit right now, but they didn't take very long. Well, that's I do feel that speed paints, contrast paints, all of that should be used as a tool, as part of a toolbox, rather than. No problem, JB. Very much appreciate you dropping by. I very much appreciate the TV mode as well. And when you next get a chance to stop by and chat, we'll be right here for you. Oh, do you know what, guys? I think that the army is actually going to be in a pretty good position for a group shot tomorrow. That's right, a group outing, a group photo for these guys, and that means check out Instagram below or the Discord, and I will be posting up pictures there, because I'm terrible at remembering to get on there and update my socials and stuff like that. So tomorrow I will be making a special effort to get some photos taken of these guys, because honestly, I'm looking at these out of the corner of my eye and I keep catching them and thinking, actually, yeah, these guys are looking pretty good. Excellent. Like I say, have a little nose around. There's some D&D miniatures in the other category, and feel free to post your own in there if you like. More than happy for people to post their own miniatures up. It's a community space. I'd love to see what you're doing at the moment. Right, folks, this is the last mini. No, it's not. I tell a lie. I tell a lie. I've got the other scouts. Caveman just wants an excuse to try and talk you into more OPR. I'm not sure. Are you sponsored by them, Caveman? Are you affiliate with them? Because I feel like if they haven't signed you up, they probably should. Oh look, did I miss a bit there? I think I must have missed a bit. Oh, how weird. Normally a bit more careful than that. If you wouldn't mind, OPR minis to go in the other channel. We'll keep the Warhammer channel just for Warhammer minis if we don't mind. Right, get this last. What have we got? We got 1, 2, 3, and this guy 4 more minis, and then we are done. So the plan for tomorrow is most likely no stream. If you do see me go live, it will probably be during the day with a little bit of video games. That's right, folks. I have in the past, once or twice, played video games. And we're not looking to be too much of a variety streamer, but it would actually be quite nice. Well, that's the thing. I don't actually know what I play anymore, because last time I was on stream, or last time I streamed video games, I streamed a bit of Doom. I was actually having great fun with that. It was a brilliant little game, but we completed that, and then we said, what are we gonna stream next? And then I started watching somebody on the Minis and Models channel. I was like, do you know what? I could do that. I could paint stuff on stream. And so I started streaming painting my my D&D minis, and here we are. Basically, that's seems like half a lifetime ago, but it's not often that I get a Sunday free. So because Sundays is a downtime on the stream, I might go live during the day with a video game, but I don't know what yet. Any suggestion? Feel free to make a suggestion if you like. Right, folks, last one. I'll tell you what I might do tomorrow morning is I might put a little poll up on Discord with a couple of options from my Steam catalogue or GOG. Keep going back to painting and quitting. Well, that's no good. We can't be having that. So, folks, that's the centerpiece of the army. Yeah, the cloak is looking quite a bit better. We're still going to have to do quite a bit of work, but I'm happier with how that colour is working on that one. I think next stage on these guys will be perfecting some of the bone colour. See, I've heard some really good things about Dave the Diver, and one of my favourite streamers was playing it a few months ago. You just play Guild Wars 2, yeah. I actually saw on the stream last night when we were looking at the Summer Games Fest that they had Guild Wars 2 on there, which I thought was kind of ironic because we'd just been talking about it, but also the fact that it must be like 10 years old now and they're still talking about it in new gaming. Everything at mine is rather rosy, to be honest with you, JB. Yeah, it's pretty good, thank you. Yes, 13 years old now, and it's still featuring on things like Summer Game Fest, which is kind of cool, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, tomorrow we may well do a bit of gaming if we do anything at all. So if you see me go live, don't necessarily expect anything. Thinking of buying it for my Switch down. Yeah, absolutely. Right then, folks, that is the end of the stream. We've been going for, that's actually quite a long stream for me, 3 hours 18 minutes and counting. So I'm going to end it there. If you see me go live tomorrow, it might be for some painting, it might be for some gaming, so please don't be disappointed if you tune in and you find me rocking out to some video games. Thank you very much, everybody who's dropped by. Thank you very much for the new followers, JB and Nard. Really appreciate you guys dropping by, dropping us a follow, and please do tune in to the next one where we'll be doing something. Thank you very much, guys. Take care and good night.